According to recent claims from David Schwartz, Ripple is thinking of rewriting the XRP ledger, which has many people in a panic. I want to discuss in this video exactly what this means for the XRP Whale and the reasons behind the concern. Additionally, I would like to discuss the present price movement. We're currently hitting some really intriguing support levels. I wish to share with you my thoughts on the present slump and all the information you want. As always, this channel really appreciates your support. We appreciate everyone who takes the time to subscribe to the channel and like these videos. I truly benefit greatly from these two little things. Additionally, be sure to check out my favorite exchange upload, which is mentioned in the video's description, if you ever need a place to buy some XRP. That being said, let's get started immediately. And I hope the content is enjoyable to all of you. I want to start this video by discussing the news that is circulating right now. Rumors that Ripple is thinking about introducing a new language to the XRP ledger. When this originally surfaced, several individuals claimed that Ripple had rewritten some sections of the XRP ledger. In this movie, David Schwartz even discussed what he would have done if he had been given the chance to restart and rework the XRP ledger. Many people are now assuming that Ripple is going to create a new XRP, switch to a new XRP ledger, or alter the current XRP after seeing this. Gentlemen, the XRP ledger will continue to undergo several updates and modifications over time, and this is among the most advantageous features of the XRP ledger, in my opinion. The XRP ledger we will have in 25 years will not be the same as the one that was developed 13 years ago. These things will be changing all the time. Furthermore, it's likely that the XRP ledger of 20 years from now will not resemble the one we have today. It is among the most significant benefits of the XRP ledger. It's the straightforward reality that this device can be updated, strengthened, and given additional features that were previously unattainable. These are some of the most significant advantages of the XRP ledger and a key factor in how it will continue to grow in strength and success. Numerous topics are being discussed regarding the XRP ledger, including making it quantum resistant and scaling TPS. These factors will all pose difficulties and increase the XRP ledger's strength in the future. Additionally, rewriting some sections of the code base in a more comprehensive and user-friendly coding language is one of the current considerations. I won't dive into the mechanics of how Rust differs from the current XRP ledger format just yet. The truth is that with all of these changes, having a new XRP or XRP ledger will never make sense. To be honest, I simply don't know enough to even discuss that. This is because the liquidity that the XRP ledger has already established and the existing network effect are its greatest advantages, which are the major advantages of any blockchain. One cannot sacrifice these things. Examine the duration required for the XRP ledger to generate the volume of liquidity and the level of activity has attracted thus far. Any project going forward, let alone the XRP ledger, would suffer greatly. From a restart, Ripple's decision to forsake all of their previous advancements is illogical. They will simply carry on and keep the current XRP ledger updated. The fact that this technology can be improved and modified over time is a significant plus. However, despite all of these improvements and updates, people will still misunderstand how these things operate and propagate false information about the potential existence of a new XRP. Many even discuss the possibility that Ripple may switch to a new chain and forsake the XRP ledger. When you really think about it, none of these things make sense. The current state of the XRP ledger is the result of 13 years of work by Ripple. For them to haphazardly choose to restart or begin using a different ledger, these items don't make sense at all. It is completely inexplicable why anyone would decide to do this. In the end, it would fail and fall flat. They could never duplicate what has already been produced. And since the XRP ledger will continue to be upgraded, I just want to be very explicit about this. Oh, well, the XRP ledger, Ripple, could just make a new one tomorrow and then just abandon the current XRP, will be the constant refrain from those who engage in FUD. These things are completely absurd. This also applies to Bitcoin. For Ethereum, this is accurate. This holds true for each of these distinct entities. You can't simply leave something behind and make a new one, and then everyone will just say, okay, this is the new one. These Ideas don't make sense, and given the state of the climate, they would never be practical to essentially go ahead. It would be like attempting to restart the internet from scratch. There's no logic behind it. People who don't grasp the true significance of the network effect and the liquidity that has already been established throughout these networks are the ones who wrote this FUD article. I simply want to be really clear about that. There will be many new developments, but none of them will result in Ripple switching from your XRP to a new XRP ledger. For a considerable amount of time to come, the XRP ledger will remain the XRP ledger. I'm referring to decades or even centuries, however, because XRP and the rest of the cryptocurrency market are clearly declining at the moment. I would want to discuss the current sell-off. One thing I wanted to mention right now is that XRP is about to reach a really deep liquidity sector, and I do expect a lot of purchase volume to enter this area. You lose a lot of that volume as XRP continues to rise in price and enterprise. Discovery, isn't that one of the issues? In this manner, you won't have a lot of people buying XRP at $4 to $5 when the market enters these significant liquidation phases. However, there will be a great deal of liquidity with buy orders whenever the prices drop, and people will basically start eating up the price. Therefore, it is impossible to predict how severe this sell-off will be. To be honest, I would be surprised if it actually went much farther than it has. The more crucial thing to understand, though, is that this isn't all that different from what we've consistently witnessed in the past. And that's the most crucial lesson to learn from this. The cryptocurrency market accomplishes exactly this. I created this little graphic for you, highlighting a few historical periods to give you a general sense. We have seen that there have been numerous opportunities similar to this in the last year alone, correct? When there have been shakeouts or market dips, people have been freaking out. Additionally, the market consistently rebounds over all of those various time periods. Since the fundamentals are ultimately evolving at an exponential rate, which greatly increases XRP's value, it always rises. Last night, I discussed this on the podcast, but I always prefer to think of it as being similar to filling up a beer. The froth rises to the top of the beer when it is filled, and occasionally it overflows, or you put in too much, causing some to fall out. Ultimately, though, the goal is to have more beer in the cup at the end of the day, and in my opinion, that closely resembles what we observe in the XRP ledger in particular. There is a lot of froth at the peak of that move when the market gets really bloated, and there is a massive 80% candle in a week. And last, the foam must subside. It's necessary to shake out some folks. Before the market to recover itself, some of that overconfidence must leave the market. Those purchase orders begin to fall back into place as organic volume begins to return. Many individuals want to know if this is the best product on the market or whatever. Gentlemen, I don't think the typical 4-year cycle that we have seen in the past will persist. An inverse chart of the XRP ledger is interesting to me, and I believe it's fun to look at since it sort of eliminates your bias towards XRP rising. It appears that this chart is on the verge of collapsing. It appears that XRP will soon undergo a significant decline. Additionally, this is simply the upside-down XRP chart. Thus, this is indeed XRP's upward trajectory. However, I find it somewhat intriguing to view the chart in this way since it eliminates the prejudice of stating, "Oh, well, I hold a lot of XRP, so I just want to see it go up." Additionally, this chart appears bullish. However, based on this chart, it appears as though XRP is poised to plummet off a cliff and make a significant decline. Since